Hikari versus Kashimo. Come on. This is definitely an S rank fight. Let's be honest. No, I took out the music during that specifically, and I zoomed in on my face. This is the coolest piece of Jujutsu Kaisen merchandise that I own. Like, it has Geto and Gojo. This shit makes me so excited. I love this shit. I have it up there. Alright, I might be sweating because this room is small. But we're going to be going through the Jujutsu Kaisen fights because all I've seen on my For You page has been the Hikari, you know, dancing meme. And it's cool. It's fine. But it's not the best fight. It is one of my favorite, but it's not the best. Now, Yuta plus Maki versus the School Curses. This was in Jujutsu Kaisen 0. This was in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie. It was pretty alright. Like, it was cool. It was an alright thing, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was kind of average. I feel like B is just an average fight where you're like, okay, this is cool. Aside from that, nothing really crazy. Now, Yuta plus Inumaki, rather, versus this weird curse thing. That one was a little bit cooler, mainly because you did see Yuta kind of, you know, summon Rika into the sword. He was in his bag for that one. It was still kind of an average fight, I'm not gonna lie. Panda plus Inumaki versus Geto. We didn't see most of this. I don't think we really saw them lose, but the run up was cool. I give them plus points for running up on Geto, but not too many points. I think I'm gonna give that a C, mainly because a lot more could have happened. I do understand such the power difference. I might close this door. Crime is happening. Ugh. Yo, what if I had fallen? Crime is a happening. Damn, that made it so much cooler. Crime is a happening. Ino versus Curses. This was also in the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, if I'm not mistaken. All of these were. Yeah, okay. So this was alright. It was cool to see him activate. Mei, I'm very excited for Mei during the Shibuya arc. So I think this nice little teaser to it, but that was okay. Okay, Nanami versus the Curses, 100%. He was the one that attained the record for Black Flash. Yes, okay, just seeing that happen, incredible. The Kyoto students versus the Curses, this was alright. It was cool to see Todo kind of go crazy, but aside from that, nothing really happened. Gojo versus Miguel was a wash. Miguel had nothing. That rope had absolutely nothing to it, but it was a good fight. Like, it was cool to see Gojo really kind of, I'm gonna beat your ass, you know? Yuta versus Geto, that was cool. Had a bar. I'm not a womanizer. This is true love. That was great. Yuji plus Megami versus the School Curses. This was Jujutsu Kaisen episode 1. This was cool. It wasn't anything really special, I don't think. It was alright. It was cool. Gojo versus Sukuna, one of the best. Sitting down on the scariest individual back in the golden era of Jujutsu is crazy. That is disrespect. I understand that's not fully Sukuna, right? But the way that Sukuna versus Gojo has been going in the manga, this might as well be it. Yuji versus Yaga, he just got his ass beat by one of the principal's little puppets. It was cool. It was alright. Nothing really happened. Same thing with Yuji and Nobara plus the curse. All the curse did was like hold a little kid. Hey, don't do it. It's the exact same thing. Alright, go back, cheeseburger. Alright, Yuji versus the finger bearer. Yuji got destroyed by the finger bearer. The finger bearer, I'm assuming, is going to be that special grade apparition during, you know, the beginning of the manga slash anime. And it was cool to see just how bad of a difference there was. But then Sukuna versus the finger bearer was embarrassing. That was like, whoa. That was, okay, come on, let's be real. Just completely, just annihilated that man. Megami versus Sukuna was alright. It was cool to see all the different Shikigami that Megami tried to use in this situation to just get destroyed by Sukuna, but it was alright. Gojo versus Jogo is going to be my first S-rank fight, mainly because that is when you see Unlimited Void. That is, what, the first perfected domain expansion I think you see, or that fight was the first, but it was the something Iron Mountain from Jogo. I can't really remember, but it was good. Gojo was just playing around with Jogo the entire time. However, I think that shows just how strong Gojo is, especially when he brings Yuji out and Yuji's like, whoa, that guy's weak? Crazy. It goes to show how far Gojo is. Megumi versus Todo was good, but it wasn't crazy. I feel like it was just Todo showing off how strong he was once again. It did make me kind of like the character because you're really running my hands because I don't like thick girls. Like, it's funny. Yuji plus Monami versus Transfigured Humans. It was just them fighting. Like, nothing was really happening. They weren't in danger. It was just Yuji's mental that was in danger, but aside from that, he was good. Nanami versus Mahito was actually good. It showed you how. Okay, A is like really good. S is obviously good. Can I put Nanami versus Mahito here? I feel like that's an A fight because Mahito is very scary as a cursed spirit, but Nanami was really holding his own. Going into overtime was also really cool. I think, yeah, that's an A rank fight. Yuji versus Junpei was not an A rank fight at all, but I think it might have been a B rank fight, mainly because we get to see this big jellyfish poison spirit Shikigami thingy, and then Yuji just tanks the hits. It was really cool. Yuji versus Mahito, come on. That panel speaks for itself. I'm on your ass. And it's only going to get worse during the Shibuya arc. Yuji versus Yuji plus Monami versus Mahito. Also, I think is going to be S rank, mainly because, okay, we have Mahito's domain expansion. We have Yuji saving Nanami without even realizing it. We have Nanami and Yuji jumping Mahito. There was just too much to go. There was just too much to happen there. Yuji versus Todo was an okay fight. It was a good fight because they are kind of bouncing off of each other. More so Yuji bouncing off of Todo. Todo's kind of, you know, guiding him the right direction, saying your ass, but it continues to, you know, go on. Panda versus Mekamaru was actually a pretty alright fight, but it was kind of underwhelming. You do see Panda has multiple hearts, and that's kind of cool, but aside from that, nothing really gets out of there. Maki versus Miwa, I feel like it was cool. I'm gonna give it a C rank. It was cool to show Maki's strength, but versus Miwa, she didn't really do anything. Maki versus Mai, same thing. Maki just completely overwhelmed the competition in both of these fights, that nothing was shown to really have an effect on Maki. Is that making sense? Maki was just so strong that the fight was ended pretty quickly. Nobara versus Momo was kind of funny, mainly because hitting her with a hammer was, I don't know, a mood. Megami versus Noritoshi. Now, both of these fighters did have things still in their bag, right? And they noticed this later on when they see Hanami. Now, would a fight between them two be really good? I think so, but the fight that we saw was a B rank fight. Now, Megami, Inumaki, and Noritoshi versus Hanami, I'm also going to put in B rank, mainly because not a lot of actual fighting was happening. It was running, then Inumaki stops Nanami, and then running somewhere. So it was cool that Inumaki had that ability, even if it only was for a little bit, on a special grade, one of the like nature special grades. So it was actually pretty cool. Megami plus Maki versus Hanami. I'm gonna put that also in B, mainly because they fought. They didn't do much. Like, they had a couple combos. They used Playful Cloud. That was cool. Aside from that, nothing really happened. But Yuji and Todo plus my brother, like, that shit was hard. That shit was good. That was a good fight. The animation was crazy when Hanami stood on that ball and then erased all of the woods because that was actually their cursed energy. It was crazy. Gaku Ganji versus Juzo. Oh, this is the old man. Okay, I was like, what is this? This is the old man. I don't remember anything about that fight. All I remember was his guitar in a suitcase. That was ass. That was ass. Gojo versus Juzo and Hanami, I'm going to put as an A rank fight. Mainly because the fight was over so fast. Like, yes, Gojo is strong, but Hollow Purple seeing it for the first time in the anime, that was clean. First Years versus the Bridge Curses was good. First Years versus the Bridge Curses was good. It was against that one little, like, it looked like a Diglett. It was alright. Like, a lot was happening. But Megumi versus that special grade was one of my favorite fights in the entire manga / anime, mainly because, you know, when he hit that thing, how do you do it? I don't even remember his own, whatever his domain expansion was, but he hit it. He hit that thing. Yuji and Nobara versus Eso and Kechizo, I feel like was good to show off Yuji and Nobara, both using Black Flash, both getting rid of the opponent that they were supposed to get rid of, switching it up at the end. It was good. It was incredible. Geto versus Shikigami Hitman. Geto blew the Shikigami Hitman away. Just, this showed how strong Geto was. And Gojo versus the cloning Hitman, when he tried to use red, didn't work out. Incredible. It was cool. Gojo versus Toji, when he got his ass beat, embarrassing. Very embarrassing. But that did go to show you how strong Toji was. Geto versus Toji, a little more embarrassing, but I'm gonna put that, I think I'm gonna put that in A tier, mainly because with the anime, it showed a lot more about Geto's reaction towards Gojo getting his ass beat, because Gojo is the pinnacle of strength. Maybe not so much at this point, but he goes on to become it, and I think the ghetto saw that potential. Gojo versus Toji, come on, let's be real. That's another S rank. I'm going to get part of that tattooed on my body. That shit was hard. Mekamaru versus Mahito. Now, I understand Mekamaru wanting to be with, you know, his classmates. Cool, I get it. But instead of trying to maybe work with his classmates, he decided to still run the hands. Would they have let him disappear? Would they have let him run away? Most likely not. But would he be able to, you know, have that chance, given that they didn't even know the mech that he had created? Possibly. So I'm going to give this a B, mainly because I think he could have done more. Gojo versus Jogo, Choso, and Hanami and Mahito. Wow. If you are watching this, if you are watching this, this is very spoiler heavy. But yes, this is an S-rank fight, 100%. The way he walked them down for real. Alright, Yuji plus Megumi versus Awakasa. Oh, okay. So this is the guy that inverts. Okay, this was actually really cool because it did just show how smart Megumi is. His curse technique, we're going to go through it really quickly. Pretty much a light hit is going to do damage, but a heavy hit, he can invert it. So the harder you hit him, the less damage it does. The lighter you hit him, the more damage it'll do. But obviously he can turn it on and turn it off. So if you hit me softly, I can just turn it off. Oh, you're still hitting me softly. You hit me with everything you got, I'm gonna turn it on. Oh, you're still hitting me softly. It is one of those. So what they did, Megumi hit him soft, Yuji hit him hard, vice versa, they were on his ass. Nobara versus Haruta. If I'm not mistaken, Nobara was getting her ass low-key ran just a little bit. But then, okay, hold on. Nobara plus Manami. This was just Manami. The way that Manami like backhanded him and literally ricocheted him off 7 walls. Crazy. Whoa. Mei and Ui versus the smallpox. Ui versus the smallpox deity. I don't remember much, but I do know that we see another domain expansion during this fight, and I think domain expansions are cool. I am going to give it a B because it doesn't stick out to my memory, but I remember the fact that I do see a domain expansion, so it has to be somewhat good. Yuji versus Choso, I think just on a technical level, the way that they were silent, but they knew they were communicating. Yuji knew that once the rain started, it was his win kind of thing, or at least he believed so. Yuji and Choso just going back and forth. A whole lot of thinking. I think that was a really good fight. Nanami, Naobito, Maki, and Megumi versus Dagon. That is a lot of people to jump this one spirit, but I think that was incredible. Okay, this is where we try to see, you know, how a domain is a circle. They were on the edge of the circle trying to burst that domain so that they can get out. And then you know what happened? They didn't get out. You know who came in? Toji. Ugh. Toji is incredible. Toji's a character. Toji is my favorite character. But he came back, ran Dagon's hands, ended up winning. Megumi versus Toji. Did this even happen? I don't remember any of this. If I'm not mistaken, they were about to fight and Toji was like, yo, I know you. He's like, yo. Okay. Jogo versus Sukuna was embarrassing. This was humbling to see. I don't know how many fingers Sukuna had at this moment in time, but Sukuna just, embarrassed. Jogo was crying. He said, yo, what is this? Sukuna said, I don't know. You're a bitch. Jogo versus Sukuna was the most humbling thing I've ever seen. Jogo was, he was put down something crazy with that one. He started crying, and Sukuna was like, yo, what are you doing, lame? Sukuna versus Mahoraga. If you've been reading the manga, Mahoraga's been everywhere. But this one was actually kind of cool. You know, the cleave and dismantle was pretty cool. I don't remember how they got out of it. I believe Mahoraga wasn't destroyed. I think he was beaten, but I don't know if that... He was beaten. Okay, I remember. So Mahoraga needs to be beaten by the user, but since another user beat Mahoraga, Mahoraga is still like, oh, nobody caught me. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, Yuji versus Mahito, this is after something happens with another character. I don't want to say it just in case people are watching with spoilers, because this isn't, like, the fact that characters fight isn't a spoiler. What happens is a spoiler. Now, Yuji versus Mahito, I think that was a really good fight. Nobara versus the clone, also a really good fight. This is where we figure out that there's a second person that's kind of like built to beat the fuck out of Mahito. And then Yuji, Todo, and Mahito, come on. If you didn't think that was going to be an S-rate fight, you don't know who I am. That was incredible. Loved every second of that. Everyone versus Kenjaku and Urame. Urame, is that how you pronounce it? I can't really remember how much happened there, if I'm being completely honest with you. And that's why that has to go B. Yuji versus Yuta, that was an A-rank fight. Yuta finally came back, decided, hey, I'm gonna kill you. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. Choso versus Naoya. was also a really good fight. I can't remember the details, but I do remember that they was thinking. But it didn't seem like a close fight. I don't think Naoya really had it in them. But I'm also giving this a B. There's a lot of B tier fights, but the A and the S tier fights, they deserve to be there. The F tier fights, just nothing really happened. Megami and Panda plus Kidara. I do remember this. It was good. Nothing in particular was really crazy. Now, okay, here's where we get to my mans. Yuji versus Hikari was a good fight, except for the fact that Yuji was getting dogged left and right. Yuji wasn't gaining any ground there. Maki versus Ogi. Now this is after Maki awakens, and oh my god, that was crazy. It was over instantaneously. Maki versus the Kururu unit, again, it was over after Maki's awakening. She was just a demon. She was on a different level of movement. If you haven't read the manga, you don't understand. And the Maki versus the High, same thing. Anything that Maki's involved in, it's an S tier fight after she awakens. I promise you. Maki versus Naoya, again, an S tier fight. Is this not the one where she said, yo, come here, I'm gonna catch you? Like, yo, what? Yuji versus Higuruma. This was good on a level where you see how Yuji operates. This was good to get into the mind of Yuji, because Yuji's so like, yo, what happened in Shibuya was 100% my fault. And Higuruma knows that's false. However, Yuji still wants to fall under that claim. Crazy. It's a lot of... It definitely shows you the kind of character that Yuji is. Megumi plus Takaba versus Regi's group. Takaba is the one with the smiley face. I feel like against the rest of his group, it was a B, but against Regi himself, it was definitely an A. Seeing Max Elephant crush Regi, seeing the receipts, it was crazy. Okay, Yuta versus Kurorushi. Oh, okay. This was over pretty quickly. I'm not gonna lie, but Yuta is him. Now, Yuta versus Ryu and Uro, I think was underrated in my opinion. I don't know if that's true, but it was one of the best fights in the entire series. The three-way domain expansion using Rika, the moves that were in Yuta's head, it was just crazy. It was an incredible fight. Hikari versus Charles. Who is Charles? I don't remember who Charles is. We're gonna put that as a C because I don't have a character named Charles in my head. Panda versus Kashimo was good, but Panda, you did see Panda's other core, but aside from that, nothing. Hikari versus Kashimo. Come on. This is definitely an S-rank fight. Let's be honest. No, I took out the music during that specifically, and I zoomed in on my face. So, this is actually Maki versus Naoya. This is Maki versus Naoya with the curse, you know, but still S-rank fight. Like, it's pretty simple. Maki, Daido, Mio versus Naoya curse. Again, now that was gonna be an A-type fight. I think these are both A-type fights, mainly because, you know, it wasn't just Naoya. Everybody had to really be involved, but still, that's cool. Choso versus Kenjaku. Yo, if there's ever been a I'm still standing moment, it was this one right here. Choso was not running the hands like that, but Kenjaku was really putting the mitts up. Yuki versus Kenjaku. Again, another A-tier fight. Then Yuki plus Choso versus Kenjaku. That, I think, was an S-tier fight. I honestly think they should have won. If I'm being completely honest, I would have had them win there, but, you know, the main characters. So I don't remember who Ino versus Ogami versus Toji. I don't even remember what this means, if I'm being completely honest with you. So we're gonna slide up right here. So this looks like it's gonna be the complete list. If you have been watching, there is maybe 1 or 2 more fights if you've been reading the manga. The most prominent of which is Gojo versus Sukuna, and that's at the top of S. In my opinion, that's at the top of S, especially with this next chapter. Don't even get me started. But if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section below. You shouldn't disagree. I've never been wrong in my life. Thank you for watching.